The original idea was to just create a farmhouse ale, Belgian inspired. So we created our classic saison when we were Blackberry Farm Brewery, and that was an original bottle, like champagne bottle, cork and cage, that we would pour alongside our cuisine at the James Beard Award-winning The Barn, Blackberry Farm restaurant, and from there.
Everyone, this is Jeremy, and welcome to Prize Points. Here at the podcast, we believe in finding fun ways to stay active. And in this episode, I'm talking to Jenny and Josh from Peaceful Side Brewery in Maryville, Tennessee. Now, if Peaceful Side sounds familiar, it's because in the Trails and Ales limited series, I wrote about Peaceful Side Social, which is in Tallent, Tennessee. And in that particular Trails and Ales tour, it's called Peaceful Tremont Shuffle. Stopped there at their location in Townsend, went up, hiked Middle Prong, and then came back and actually had some ice cream. It was an awesome day. But when talking to Jenny and Josh, we're actually going to be talking about their new location and discussing the brewery in Maryville. And in addition to that, our event that's actually coming up at the end of the month here on March 30th. This event will be our first actual Trails and Ales hike event. We'll be meeting at the brewery there in Maryville. Get there, carpool if you want. Be a great plus for those people who don't have the parking pass for the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We're going to drive up through past Townsend and into Tremont. We're going to hike Middle Prong. Once we're done with the hike, we're going to head back to the brewery. From there, we're going to get a nice tour and a courtesy flight. So this courtesy beer flight will be some of the great beers that they've actually got there. Should be a fun event. We'll be kicking it off again March 30th, 8:30 a.m. Meet there at the brewery. You're interested, go to prizepoints.com. There's a registration form. Just fill out so we kind of have a head count of who will be there. And it's going to, again, just going to be a really, really fun event. I'll also have the link here in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, we'll have a link there in the description, the video as well. Hey, here we go. Here's Jenny and Josh, Peaceful Side Brewery. Jenny and Josh here from Peaceful Side Brewery out in Maryville. Guys, just introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about y'all.
I'm Jenny Monaghan. I am the Assistant Marketing Director at Oldham Hospitality, umbrella company for Peaceful Side Brewery, and Peaceful Side Social. I mainly do the marketing, social media, community connections, and events for the Peaceful Side. And we're really excited about our newest endeavor, opening up Peaceful Side Brewery. And this is Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh Tallent. I'm the general manager of the tap room for Peaceful Side Brewery. I had been along with Blackberry Farm Brewery for 2 years, and then November we began making this transition, and that officially took place on December 4th. So we've had a couple of months under our belt. It's going really well, and we're excited to spread a little bit more awareness of who we are and where we are.
Awesome. Well, this episode and us kind of sitting down talking kind of stems back from, I want to say back in November. I did a hike and stopped actually in the Townsend location and said, hey, would you guys, want to come on to the podcast? And then that's how I found out really about the brewery. I'd heard a little bit about it and seen some stuff online. But I guess kind of as far as the brewery there in Maryville, kind of walk us through kind of what beers are on tap, and I guess maybe a little history about the brews.
Sure. Our tap wall is always evolving. And just to go back to a little bit of history, last year we celebrated our 10-year anniversary as Blackberry Farm Brewery, which began with two amazing individuals that kind of came together to just talk about an idea. The original idea was to just create a farmhouse ale, Belgian inspired. So we created our classic saison when we were Blackberry Farm Brewery, and that was original bottle, like champagne bottle, cork and cage, that we would pour alongside our cuisine at the James Beard Award-winning The Barn, Blackberry Farm restaurant. And from there, it just gained a lot of excitement. The brewers obviously always want to kind of expand. And so from that period, we've introduced German Pilsners, Vienna Lagers, American IPAs, mixed culture. We have a really fun wood program that we're going to set some high focus on going forward that we'll speak about our first release coming up in April. We're really excited about later on in the podcast. But it's a little bit of history on us. Being in Maryville, we're kind of off the beaten path, but we have definitely brought on a really fun and eclectic group of followers that really fill our tap room and create a little bit of excitement. So, as far as the beers on our tap wall, it's always changing. Currently, our IPA is probably our go-to, the one that we're known for. It's always been in a green can, and we're expecting that to continue. That one is just like a traditional American style IPA that kind of splits the border of America, West Coast and East Coast, and just brings a lot of the most exciting flavors of IPAs that I've experienced across the country. Uh, Going into other beers, if someone wants a lighter style, we really focus on our Kolsch. We have a fun event the first Sunday of every month called Ziegenhügel, which translates to Goat Hill in German. And we bring around Kolsch's nonstop. They're $2 Kolsch's in Stanges, which are 7-ounce glasses, a traditional glass you'd find in Cologne, Germany. And we pair that with a pork schnitzel that we provide every first Sunday of the month. So that's one that we sell the most of because of that event, and it's on the lighter side. It's just a delicious beer to drink, and especially on those hotter days outside. And then another beer that we brought on from Peaceful Side is our Smoky Mountain Days that I know Jenny has a
Yeah,
little bit of
Smoky
history with.
Mountain. Yeah, Smoky Mountain Days. It is a smoked Hefeweizen. It is brewed with Tennessee smoked pecan wood and Tennessee malts. So it's definitely paying homage to our local area. And it's just a great beer for hot days outside. You can really savor it and enjoy it by the campfire outdoors. Bring it with you on a hike in a can, or just enjoy it sitting by the river. It's a really, really great summer beer or spring beer.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
No, I've had, you mentioned the IPA. That's how I really got introduced to Blackberry, now Peaceful Side. A friend of mine said, "Hey, you got to try this." And it was fantastic. And then I know that I think it was a couple weeks ago I was there in Maryville, swinging in, talking to you guys, and I ended on the Kolsch, which was perfect because it was a warm day. I know we've had some cold days the past past week or so, but it was a nice warm one, and light enough to where I was able to run the greenway afterwards and didn't feel bogged down. So that was, but maybe that was just the excitement of having a beer before a run. I don't know, but I, and so yeah, and then I love the sound of the Smoky. I mean, that one is I may have to swing in there this weekend and grab that one. That's
Yes,
Definitely.
you
that one
should.
sounds awesome. So, those definitely set you all apart, from I'd say other, not just breweries here in town, but just beers in general. But what kind of, when we think about brewing and of course, here at Price Points, trying to find fun ways to stay active, especially outside. So, what kind of sustainable practices do you all have there at the brewery? That really help conservation, especially around the Smokies.
Well, a couple of those, we always like to find ways to become more sustainable year after year. One of the ways we did that this past year or two was to go from kind of labels to printed cans. It was a lot easier originally to have kind of blank cans where we could put our own label on, depending on how many varieties of beer we were going to produce. But we really focused on our Pilsner, our IPA, and a couple others to just get those printed cans to where there is less waste when those are created. Another big one is with we have a local farmer that we will send all of our spent grain to. So he'll come up the day after all of our brews and pick up some large barrels and take those to his cattle to feed. Um, Those are two of the big ways that I know that we really focus on. And another one would be this last week was our third year in a row of doing Pickup for a Pint,
No.
which Jackalope Brewing in Nashville kind of started, not sure how many years ago, definitely more than three, probably 5 to 7 years ago, if not longer. And what we do is we have a sign up sheet, and I think this last week we had 22
Mm-hmm.
22 local volunteers pop in and take an hour or two to cruise around and pick up trash. And Jenny, how much did they?
We actually partnered with some local breweries this year, Tri Hop Brewery and Soiree Brewing Company, both here in Maryville.
Mhm.
And combined, we picked up a total of 505 pounds of litter just in this very small vicinity. So it was a really great partnership. And the participants, after they participated in the cleanup, they got to have a beer at their choice brewery. So we definitely try to encourage people to get outside, encourage them to be involved in their local community by rewarding them for those things.
Yeah, absolutely. There were a
Yeah.
few that worked really hard. They were in the creek near here
Yes.
pulling things
They had
out,
on
which,
waders.
yeah.
Wow.
So some very prepared volunteers that we were very proud to have on
Yes.
board.
Well, I was going to say some overachievers, maybe hoping to get more than one pint out of it. I don't know. I can't. No, I
Yeah.
kid. That's awesome though. That people are coming out, but they're coming out that prepared. Not just saying, "Hey, I'm going to get pick up trash off the road," but hey, we're getting in there to really.
Yes. And we partnered with Keep Blunt Beautiful. And Keep Blunt Beautiful is a local nonprofit based in Blunt County that they have programming revolving around recycling and composting. They planting non-invasive plant species versus invasive plant species, and they just host a lot of litter cleanups and do programming with schools and everything. So they're one of the organizations that we try to partner with to get outside, but we also partner with Little River Watershed Association. um, we're going to be sponsoring beer for their paddle cleanup that they do every year around Earth Day.
Yeah.
And we also partner with Tremont Institute and things like that, especially with our Townsend location, which we're going to be doing more with our Maryville location coming soon.
Right, right. And then at the Townsend location, you can do a roundup. Is that?
That is right.
Yeah,
It's called
yeah.
our Sip Saver Support Giving Back Initiative. And it started when we opened back in September 2021. And so far, since we opened, we've raised well over $40,000 for local nonprofits, including Keep Blunt Beautiful, Little River Watershed Association, our local search and rescue team, which is Team Busar, Save Our Smokies. They're a local cleanup organization as well. And a couple more, Townsend Area Volunteer Fire Department. And we're always looking for ways where we can get involved and give back to the community and invite locals and travelers to also give back as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's great. No, that's awesome, and that's one of the things I know, Jenny. You were out talking a few weeks ago when you mentioned the roundup. I was like, yeah, I remember that. From the times that I've been out there, out in Townsend. And so, as far as all the other great things y'all are doing, that's new to me, and I think it's great that you all really are active in the community, but then also on an environmental level. I think it's just killer. I mean, it's great.
Being right at the base of the Smoky Mountains, we really want to try to protect it and preserve our beautiful
Exactly.
ecosystem.
No, I know. And kind of on that topic of being there at the Smokies, are there as far as you all and your people on your team, are there like certain hikes that they enjoy, and if they're hiking them, do they have like a combo they can share with us as far as like a snack and a beer that kind of goes perfect when they're reaching that point on the hike?
Josh actually mentioned some great ones this morning.
Yeah, well, I think when you pair snacks with hiking, my snack bag has changed over the years now that I have a 5-year-old. So it's more like gushers and goldfish rather than things that I would typically bring before that period. But a couple of the hikes that we like to go on, Middle Prong, which is one that we're going to be doing later in the month to kind of kick this partnership off. That's a really good one. It's not crazy long. It's like kind of right in the middle. It's around 8 miles in and back. There's a couple others. Spruce Flats Falls was one that we targeted. That's one that you could do if you have a little bit less time to spend out in the Smokies.
Maybe with
and
your kids.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a great
yeah,
one for kids.
yeah,
And it's
that,
in the Tremont area.
yeah, and that keeps that attention span just long enough. Um, we were talking earlier. One of mine that's outside of the park is a thought that we had during our conversation in Tellico, and I know you had a spot or two there that I think kind of fits anyone from the Knoxville area that are headed down that direction to maybe pop in here and have some food and beer on the way back.
Yeah, no, it's for me, for years, I've been very fortunate to camp outside Tellico Plains and Coker Creek with a friend of mine who knows these people that just own just acres out there, and so we've been very fortunate to stay out there and hike. But going through Indian Boundary, in fact, another group of friends, they'll camp out in Indian Boundary usually around this time of year, and anyone who knows that area is that water is freezing. And my buddy Jeff is notorious for getting out in that water. And it's probably about, 50 degrees outside. You get in that water and it's just cold. I don't know how he does it. And our buddy Tom, who actually lives out in Memphis, when he comes out here, he does it. But hiking through Indian Boundary is great. Even though the bridge is closed around Bald River Falls, bridge is closed there, but you can still get in and hike. In fact, another friend of mine, whose name's also Jeremy, he and his wife Abby, were out there trail running a couple weekends ago, and I asked them, I said, "Hey, getting in and out, without the bridge," and they're like, "Oh, it's." They kind of talked about it in a positive way. They're like, well, because the bridge is closed, not a lot of tourists are coming out there anyway. So they were able to get a real good run in and out. So around through the bald, around the falls there, it's great to see the falls. And then up on Cherahela, just going up on the Cherahela Skyway, which connects Tennessee to North Carolina. There's so many great little drop offs. Jenny, you'd mentioned I think either Jenny or Josh mentioned attention span, and since I don't remember which one said it, shows my lack of attention span. But that's one of the great things about Cherahela. There's so many places you could drive, get out, stretch your legs, hike up on that mountaintop, and you get these beautiful views. So many little spots there. In fact, when I was in college, I went to college in Chattanooga, and a friend of mine went camping out there one day or one weekend. I think it was during spring break. Shows how cool I am. I wasn't going to the beach. I was out camping. But we found a waterfall out there, and to this day, I still not 100% sure where that trail was. I tried to find it a few years ago. I think I found it, but no one's maintained the trail, so there's some overgrowth. But to get down there to see that waterfall is pretty epic, and it's really cool.
That's
But
awesome.
there are a lot of spots, and one of the cool things I always joke with people, what's really neat on your way back to Knoxville, you can stop at Benton's and get some ham or bacon and
Yeah.
justify, nothing like eating something like that to justify a day of hiking. But it's no, those are all great spots.
And another great thing that we had talked about was that you can bring your dogs to those trails up there.
That's
And
right.
unfortunately, dogs are not allowed in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which we all know, except for the Sugarlands Trail.
Mhm.
But that's a great one. That's a great alternative.
And no, that's a good point. And even some dog owners I know, I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but they tend to forget that
Yeah.
no dogs allowed. I actually met a guy a few years ago, Randy, and still stay in contact with Randy. We're friends on Facebook, and that's one of the reasons we were backpacking and we stayed at the Davenport shelter. And that was one of the reasons why Randy was hiking through. Unfortunately, his dog that he had had for, gosh, over a decade passed away. And he said before adopting a new dog, he wanted to get as many miles in there in the park, before he
Yeah.
had a dog and was kind of confined to only finding places where the two of them could go. Yeah, absolutely. Um, well, great. Let's see. So, you mentioned all this, all the great things that the brewery's been doing. Peaceful Side's worked on. Is there anything that's kind of coming up this spring and summer that you all are really looking forward to? You want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of like our grand opening as we've transitioned from Blackberry over to Peaceful Side Brewery, and we're going to really have a fun spring celebration. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to be an entire weekend, April 5th through 7th. It's going to include a fun event called Beer and Hymns we can talk about a little bit. Also, a huge shrimp boil on Saturday where we're going to have Captain Ed, who's a really amazing local DJ that's extremely fun. And we're proud and happy to have him
We'll
spin for us that day.
we'll have bottle releases, our very
Yeah.
first Peaceful Side bottle releases that
and
day.
and that's exciting. It's something that we've always had a really good wood presence in our tap room, and it'll be the first release we've had in a while. First as Peaceful Side Brewery, certainly. That's going to be focused on our wood aged program with our fooders that you can kind of see behind us, which
Yeah.
is really large oak barrels.
American oak wood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really excited about that. We're going to have 4 editions of a wooded release that are going to come out that weekend. And then we're going to finish the weekend on Sunday with Ziegenhügel, which is the Kolsch service I mentioned earlier. So we're really looking forward
Mm-hmm.
to that weekend, which
Yeah.
is we're a month away.
And in addition, we've got something coming up for St. Patty's Day. We're going to transform our tap room and have a bunch of stouts on tap. We're going to possibly do an Irish stout stew.
We have to now. It's
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
So the world knows.
Yeah.
So we're going to work on recipes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
And so just send us your suggestions. And we always have a monthly vinyl night on the third Thursday of every month. And comes with a theme usually. And
Yeah.
you'll find that on social media. So follow us at Peaceful Side Brewery on social media. We also have live music in the tap room every Saturday night from 6 to 9. So you can always find local artists from the community. We keep them on rotation. So there's always somebody new. And you can also find all of our events on our website, peacefulsidebrewery.com. So we've always got something going on, whether it's in the community or live music or something.
It's great to hear. And then speaking of kind of like live music and other things that go on there at the brewery, not just the beer that's on tap, but the food that's being served there. Can you touch a little bit on that?
Absolutely. We've had some amazing feedback from our smash burgers. A lot of people will drive a little extra from wherever they live to come for those. Those have obviously been my favorite. That's kind of the cornerstone of what the food menu became and was kind of focused on. So I know when I'm hiking, like spoke earlier about some snacks that I bring on for my daughter, but what I really like doing is like halfway to 3/4 through the hike is like daydreaming of what I'm going to be eating after. So the smash burgers, one my favorite is a smoked onion jam smash burger. So smoked onion jam that we make here, some shredded lettuce, spicy pickles that are house made as well, and then we do 3.5 ounce patties on a brioche bun that really excites me when I haven't been here for a couple of days. I'm looking forward to having that. Beyond that, we have a really good sweet tea brine chicken tender. So we will do a sweet tea brine and brine the chicken tenders for 48 hours. And then those come out just like crunchy and juicy and sweet and salty and has a little bit of everything in one bite. Those all come with fries. We have some really good salads if you're kind of looking for something on the healthier side, something lighter. You can add chicken there. Currently, we have chili, even though the weather lately hasn't really been chilly weather, but that's going to transcend over into some sort of a fish taco, whether that's shrimp or last year we did mahi mahi. So depending on what fish we want to bring on, we'll do a spring, summer, really light and bright fish
And
taco.
And to add to that, if you're not much of a meat eater, or if you've got like a gluten restriction or something,
Yeah,
because you have the gluten-free
absolutely.
buns. But if you're more of a plant-based eater, there's a Beyond Burger, so you can replace any of the patties on any of the burgers with the Beyond Burger. You can also there's several dips that we have, and like Josh said, the salads, and then we have Saison battered onion rings.
Oh yeah, those
Yeah.
are a
So
delicacy.
lots of delicious things on the menu for everybody.
Yes,
No,
pimento cheese. Yeah,
We
a
even
lot, a
have
lot of good things.
non-alcoholic beers, just to throw that in if anybody was interested in a non-alcoholic beverage.
Oh, wow. So it's something for everybody. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And that's good. I know some definitely some gluten-free people. And then some no particular vegan as well that's going to enjoy hearing that. So and kind of to touch on all of this and mentioning, you mentioned Middle Prong, early on, we've got an event coming up here end of the month, March 30th, Saturday. Um, Meeting there at the brewery, and then we'll kind of carpool. This is a great advantage for people who don't have a parking pass for Smoky Mountains National Park. Can kind of all drive, kind of carpool up there to go to Middle Prong and do the hike there in Tremont, and following that, kind of coming back to the brewery, doing a tour for those who want to do the tour. Definitely want to grab a bite to eat. I'm already thinking about that smash burger myself. That's
Good one.
you had me at smash burger, and then sold me even more when I heard about the jam that goes on it. That's awesome. But then also with that, also a flight that kind of highlights some of the beers on tap, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely. I think
Yeah.
that'll be a good way for those that haven't been here before to kind of get a little ground base of what we offer. One exciting new addition: a couple of weeks ago, we added our Stonefly, which was a fun beer we did probably 2 to 3 times a year, quarterly. That would started at Stonefly 1, went to Stonefly 14, and we kind of honed in on Stonefly 13 as our favorite. And so we've been recreating that and just kind of making little tweaks here and there. So we just released that. It's going to be our first double hazy IPA. So we did a double dry hop on that with some really awesome hops. Our favorites on that was Columbus, Citra, Mosaic, and Simcoe. So starting from there and then going all the way, like we mentioned earlier, with our Kolsch. We also have a good stout program and a Vienna lager that'll also be available. We have our second run of our mountain lager that'll be coming out next week. So by the time this hike happens, you can have a good variety to throw into a flight and try a little bit of everything and then choose your favorite.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to, again, fortunately living in Knoxville, it's an easy drive, and that's on my way when I go out to the peaceful side of the Smokies. I definitely go through Maryville. Um, Again, that's March 30th. I think we're going to get together around 8:30 that morning and then drive out there. Anyone interested, there's a link that'll be in the show notes. And then, of course, I'll be sharing some more information on that on social as well. Speaking of social, Jenny, I think you mentioned this a moment ago. Anyone who's looking for Peaceful Side, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find Peaceful Side Brewery on Instagram and Facebook at Peaceful Side Brewery. That's our handle for Instagram and Facebook. If you're looking for Peaceful Side Social, it's going to be Peaceful Side Social on Instagram and Facebook. Two different locations. Peaceful Side Social is in Townsend. Peaceful Side Brewery is in Maryville.
Okay, awesome. Good deal. Good deal.
And on our website.
Sure.
We always have our events updated on our website. So check it out, peacefulsidebrewery.com.
Right.
That's
And I will say, yeah, on the website, the brewery, as far as events, you guys have got it stacked in there, and it's great. I think every event also like links, like you can map it out. It's got the address, all that jazz. Really cool. Well, Jenny, Josh, thank you all very much for coming on. Definitely looking forward to the 30th. And between now and the 30th, I'll definitely be in there swinging by.
awesome.
I don't need an excuse. I can find always a good reason to go out there to Maryville. But thank you all very much, and appreciate you all coming on, and have a good one.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks,
you too.
Jeremy.
All right, thank you. Thanks again, Jenny and Josh, for coming on to the podcast. Really appreciated learning more about Peaceful Side Social and hearing about all the great things that they do in the community. I have to say, after the interview, Max and I drove out there and had dinner. Both of us got the smash burgers. Max, a little on the plain side. On the other hand, I jumped right into that jam. We were both extremely satisfied. They're great smash burgers. I can see why people drive out of their way to get them. And the French fries that come with them are awesome. Max said they were the best French fries that he's had, and that's pretty high praise coming from the Potato King, Max Price. Hey, you'll be able to try them out yourself when you come and join us on March 30th for the Trails and Ales event. Again, we're meeting at the brewery in Maryville at 8:30. From there, we'll drive out to Middle Prong, hike that, then head back to the brewery, get a tour. Josh is going to have a nice collection of beer flight. I believe they're calling it the Adventurers Beer Flight. It'll be great. Be able to try out some of the delicious beers that they have there, courtesy of Peaceful Side Brewing. To sign up, all you got to do is go to pricepoints.com and fill out the registration form. There's a link here in the show notes, in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead, direct link straight to it, gives you all the info. Hope to see you there on March 30th. Hey, while you're here, go ahead, give us a like and a follow. We greatly appreciate it. Until next time, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Price Points. We'll catch you next time. Thanks. Goodbye.